Well, hello again. It's time for an update on the Constellation. As you can see, I'm getting pretty close to the end on this project. I've got the base coat on there. I've got the detail areas painted the way I want them. And it's got a gloss coat on her. And for the past day or two, I've been applying the decals. I'm at the point where it's looking pretty dang good, if I do say so. That looks pretty sharp. Gloss coat's kind of producing some weird effects with the overhead lighting, but once all the decals are down and solvented down, I'll apply a flat coat to it. And then I'll do the pastel chalk weathering, and well, I'll declare her done. Since the last time you saw her, one of the major modifications I did involved this area of damage on the saucer. It was originally shifted over this way a little bit. Well, checking my research photos, I noticed it was off by about half an inch, so I basically cut a pie slice section out of the saucer top and bottom, and then cut a smaller one out that was about half an inch long, swapped the two, and re-glued and re-blended everything. Took a lot of work to do, but it seemed to do the job. There's a little bit of a hint of a seam there. If it shows up under the flat coat and anybody asks, I'll just say that, well, if a ship gets hit by an anti-proton beam, it would probably cause some of the deflector grid to buckle back here. So, but I think it'll disappear quite nice, and it'll be almost imperceptible that there was even a problem with it, unless somebody looks deliberately at it. Engine detailing is turning out very well, in my opinion. What I did was I airbrushed some black into those areas. I didn't use a straight flat black. I used a color from the Floquil Railroad Colors line called Floquil Weathered Black, which is really a very, very dark gray. And reason for that is when I do the pastel chalk weathering, I'll do the chalks in black and various other shades of gray to kind of give it a little more, well, how should I say it, a little more depth, as it were, a little more color. The exposed circuitry and the busted pipes and stuff, I misted over some silver, specifically using Floquil Old Silver, also out of the Railroad Colors line, that I airbrushed on at low pressure. And the thing is, it produces an almost perfect effect compared to what the studio model had. So I'm guessing that might be what they did. They just painted those areas in silver and then sooted them up, and there you have it. Let's see if I can turn it around to the other side. Can't really zoom in any closer than that. I promise you I'll shoot some still photos showing those areas up close. But, well, it's producing a really nice effect. The black that I applied here is pretty close to the pattern that the studio model had. And reason I applied it before I put the decal on is so I can blend the decal into it, and I wanted to do it with a combination of paint and pastel chalk weathering. So once done, I'll fade this Starfleet Arrowhead area back to black and blend it all in to make it look like the damage happened after this area was painted in decal. So turning my attention to the saucer. Whoop, sorry about that. area in the saucer. I used a slightly lighter shade of gray for this piece of sprue. I decided to paint the inner one silver. Once I put some pastel chalk weathering on that, that ought to darken it up really nice. The one thing I'm at this point in the paint stage, I mean, most of the damage in the weathering is going to be very doggone close to what the studio model had, but I am going a little different in some areas. For instance, the fried conduits back here, they were just pretty much painted like a lighter gray shade on the studio model, but they didn't really show any signs of why this area blew out, so I put a little bit of a black wash in the areas that I cut in to make it look like pipes ruptured, and you had like a gas pressure buildup until the panel finally failed, and well, seems to be working. Secondary hull. There we go. Let's take her down a little. There we go. These light reflections are really weird. It's kind of weird seeing it like this. It looks almost like if somebody had done a die-cast model of a Constellation, you figure they'd paint it in a bright, paint it like a Hot Wheels car and then put all this damage on it. I mean, once it gets flat coated, it's going to look a lot better. Decals I'm using are a combination of some custom printed ones. The window patterns I'm using are actually out of the round 2 reboxing of the small box AMT kit. And I mean, areas that I wasn't using those markings include the NCC numbers on the warp engines. These came from some decal artwork done by a guy named Shaw, who basically took the AMT long box artwork and improved upon it, and he also did some Constellation logos as well. So I'm using his NCC 1017 numbers and also the Constellation number for the saucer because it looks accurate to the studio model, because it looks like all they did was they took the 17, put it here, and then flipped around the O and the 1 upside down. So it's looking pretty good. One area of homemade decal that I added. I don't think it's going to come out really well. It's probably too shaded, but you can barely see the Pilot 2 style grill pattern on the back of the warp nacelle here. That was made with a custom decal. All I essentially did was I took the back end of a Polar Lights 1/1000 scale Enterprise model, put a piece of tape over it, sketched out where all those little dots and recesses were, blew it up to this size, used it to make a decal artwork and printed those out. I do have access to an Alps printer. It does come in handy. And, well, it adds a nice little bit of detail to a relatively featureless piece otherwise. And so I like it better than just an area that's just perfectly flat. Well, let's see, you can also see the damage on this warp nacelle area. Again, black and a combination of silver. I'm going to add some pastel chalk to these blown up reactor cooling loops. So, but overall, don't really have that much work to go. I don't know if I'll get it done by Christmas, but I should definitely get it done by New Year's, so it will officially probably be the very last model I finish for 2011. And, well, I'm not entirely sure what project I'll do next. I mean, the Revell Enterprise is one good possibility. I would like to work on that, but yeah, I might trick it up and work on something else as well. It's up to me, I guess. But hope you like what you see, and next time you see it, it should be done. And I still have yet to put the Doomsday Maw on the display base, but I should do that here pretty soon. I got a decal for the display base. I've also got to apply the dedication plaque decal as well. So, like I said, next time you see it, it should be done. Until then, thank you for watching.